Oh God, I don't even know what her name is. Oh, it's so funny. Hi y'all, this is Jace, she, they, and you found Jace Reads Romance, a community dedicated to empowering women about sex and sexuality through the reading of romance novels. Welcome back to another edition of What I Read This Week. This week, it's April 21st through 27th. The high volume of books this week is primarily due to audiobooks that I'd been slowly working through over the last couple weeks and finally finished this week. So it's not really that I read them all this week, it's that I finally committed to finishing the audiobooks, which is not easy for me. I don't often listen to audiobooks, or I'm not consistent with my audiobooks. And that's okay. Get your comfy sexy on. I'm wearing a tank top. Yeah, a tank top and my little sweater cardigan sweatshirty thing. I love it. Grab an emotional support beverage. The first book I finished was one of those audiobooks. It's Wild and Wrangled by Lyla Sage. I have a physical copy. Yes, I do. But I'd been listening to all of these as audiobooks, so I got a physical copy as kind of a trophy, also because I do want to at some point read them, since I take in things better when reading, but I did listen to it as an audiobook to be consistent with the rest of the series. This is the final book in the Rebel Blue Ranch series by Lyla Sage. It is about Dusty and Cam, and quite honestly, it was not my favorite book. I think that Lyla Sage has gotten better and better as a writer. You can see that her craft is improving with each story. However, not my favorite story, not my favorite couple, primarily due to Cam. This is a second chance romance where Cam is also a single mom. She's recently been left at the altar. Dusty is returning home from years of traveling and working abroad, and they are finally giving each other time and space. While Cam was engaged, Dusty really was leaving her alone, making sure that he was separate. But the morning of her wedding, when she is left at the altar via note, not cool, dude, not cool, she ends up at the town bar where Dusty is drinking away his sorrows, and he whisks her away to have a day with him. And their friendship starts to blossom. They become friends, they spend time together. She ends up moving onto a house where he also lives as the caretaker, and they repair and rebuild the relationship. The structure of this book is unique compared to most of the other Rebel Blue Ranch series. In the previous books, we maybe got a flashback or two, but a good chunk of this story takes place as flashbacks to when Cam and Dusty got together in high school. We see them meet, we see them build a connection and a friendship, and eventually a romantic relationship. We also see how that romantic relationship ended, why it ended. It's never been a story that we've gotten in the other books. I found Cam to be really annoying and juvenile. We haven't gotten to know her very well in the previous books, but in this book, we saw her make incredibly juvenile decisions. And I can accept that when you're 18, 19 years old. You made the dumb decision to follow Dusty when he left Rebel Blue. Cam loves Meadowlark. She loves the town. She loves living there. She knew she wanted to go to college, and she has the expectations of her family, putting a lot of pressure on her to do so as well. But when Dusty says his goal is to be a rancher all over the country and all over the world, she chooses to follow him. He never asked her to go with him. He didn't expect her to go with him. He expected them to do long distance. She doesn't like that lifestyle. She's unhappy after they left. Instead of breaking up, kindly choosing to do long distance, she's mean, she's angry, and she leaves with basically a Dear John note. That is how the relationship ended in the past. It's rash, it's immature, and I can only accept it because you're 18 years old. I get it. However, when she's presented with some conflict, very little conflict to be fair, it is so minor, she also runs away, explodes at Dusty, and leaves him behind. It's quickly resolved by the people around her saying, Cam, that's dumb, go talk to him. But the fact that she's so quick to explode and to react and to make decisions about their relationship unilaterally doesn't make me feel like she deserves him or that she's even ready for the next step in a relationship. Because of that, It was not my favorite couple. In fact, it felt the least believable for longevity of any of the couples in this story. Lyla Sage is starting a new series. The covers are very different. I don't really know what the vibe's gonna be ultimately. I wish that this story had been handled differently. It really didn't hit me the right way. Because it was an audiobook, I also don't have any quotes to share with you, so I'm just gonna move on to the next book. The next book was Rook and Rebel by Kate Crew. I did not like this book. Did not like it. I don't think it has anything to do with the audio performances. I think I would not have liked this book regardless. I feel like this author or the PR company gave people very specific things they wanted to be said about this book for promotional purposes that were inaccurate to what actually happened in the book. The way it was promoted was, well, this part's accurate. She is with her boyfriend and mugged by a guy on a motorcycle. Boyfriend runs away. Motorcycle guy feels bad for her and says, "Don't worry, I'll take you home." But then the general gist seemed to be motorcycle guy becomes obsessed with her and stalks her, and she's boring. That's not how it plays out. He finds out who she is. It turns out she's the daughter of his sworn enemy, the man who killed his parents, the man he has sworn to overthrow or destroy or whatever. He has a whole revenge plot for Rebel's dad. It's not even her name. Her name is Regan, one of them. And so he decides to watch her because she's his enemy's daughter and he knows where she lives now. He's not stalking her because he's obsessed with her. And she's boring because after the night where she was out really late, her dad, who is evil and controlling, and I can't believe this grown-ass adult listens to him, basically grounds her. So she's stuck at home by herself doing fuck all. So yeah, it's boring. She's grounded at 23. And he's stalking her because he's trying to get information about his enemy. There is a romance between Rook and Rebel. Rook is the MMC, the motorcycle guy. She felt too stupid to live. Just honestly, how do you not know your dad's the bad guy? How do you not know he's secretly dating someone? How have you let him treat you like this? If you're supposed to be intelligent, like clearly you're an idiot. Rook isn't bad. I enjoyed him as a character, but he fell for her, and that made me like him less. I also got bored with this story and erased most of it from my brain. I couldn't even tell you what happened. There's a fire, no one's hurt, but there's a history. Someone tries to kidnap her and another girl associated with the club, and then Rook and the guys show up and kill everyone. It is very violent. I don't mind the violence. I'm totally fine with the violence. I found the story boring. I found these characters unbelievable. I found Rebel/Regan absolutely insufferable. It held none of my attention. I think the performers did their job perfectly well. I just didn't like it. And that's okay. I'm allowed not to like things. You're allowed to like it. If you loved this, that is totally fine. I hold no judgments, but I'm telling you, for me, this was not for me. Book number 3 was an arc of a book that is out now. It is Cara and the Hacker. It's by Ellen Bard, and it's part of a series. I hadn't read the first 3 books. I was told this was a standalone. The love story is a standalone. I believe we met Cara in the previous books, but not Archer, the MMC. Now, the confusing part for me is that, yes, the romance is a standalone. They are part of a bigger story fighting the big bad. The overall plot is Atlanteans exist. They're different from humans. They have powers based on the chakra system. And there's a prophecy that says couples connected by each chakra, so 6 couples from the first one all the way to 6, not 7, are going to find each other and be able to defeat this big bad. Now you've got the people who are both part of the prophecy and also trying to support the prophecy, and you've got the big bad trying to thwart the prophecy. Each book seems to be about a couple finding each other. And I don't know if it's how it's worked in the other books. In this book, it's for the third chakra, Manipura, the solar plexus chakra. Both of these characters, Cara and Archer, it's their auxiliary chakra. All of the people descended from Atlantis have a primary chakra, which is where they get their powers from. And then they have an auxiliary chakra, which has not as strong powers, but they do need to be trained in those chakras. And that's how their power system works. In terms of the big bad and the prophecy, there are 3 other books. This is book 4. So there are 3 other couples that have been found. They've been fighting the big bad. There are familial connections to the big bad in some of these couples. And it did get a little confusing. It was a little bit hard to follow along with. Cara and Archer, easy to follow along with. It's a loathe to love, hurt, heal situation. Archer is not only an energetic, but he also owns a very successful tech firm, and he is attacked on a run. He is attacked outside, and he goes to a healing center that Cara runs. Archer is a terrible patient, and Cara has to deal with him. They don't get along. He wants to be told he can go home sooner. She just wants him to fucking lie down and get better. It turns out it was the big bad that attacked Archer, and the big bad is looking for Archer to try and kill him because the big bad believes Archer is going to be one of the men in a couple for the prophecy. Turns out he is correct. He is going to be Cara's partner. Cara did know that she was part of the prophecy, but not who her partner would be, which is why I think we've met Cara previously in books, but not Archer. There was action and adventure. There were people attacking the healing center. There were searches for lost artifacts and Atlantis in the Mediterranean Sea. Archer and Cara do grow to respect each other for their talent, for their intelligence, and eventually just for who they are as a person. The spice in this is barely existent. Cara and Archer have a hookup real far into the book. Motherfucking slow burn. We barely get a description. And then Cara says, no, I can't. So they're not even together at the end of the book. And only in the epilogue do we hear a, well, maybe we should be. So it almost doesn't feel like a romance. I don't know how I feel about that in general. For me, it bothered me because I was waiting for the romance. I wanted to watch them come together as a couple. I also know that there are at least 2 other books. So they might play a good part in those, and we might see their relationship blossom over the rest of this series. I would recommend that you read the first 3 books before this book. I think it will help you understand the bigger picture and what's at stake in this world. The magic system, the power system, is one of the most unique that I've seen. I rarely see chakras or non-Eurocentric magic systems being introduced. I was a little confused that it's the Atlantean myth that connects to chakras, since they are 2 mythologies that don't originate from the same place. If you've never heard of chakras, don't worry. Ellen Bard does a great job overall of explaining what the chakras represent, big picture. She uses the correct placement in the body, the typical colors associated with each chakra, and the powers connect with what each chakra is in charge of if we're talking about energies and that system. If you are someone who follows a religion or follows a practice that connects you to your chakras, understand that this is fiction, just like when there are angels in romance novels and unicorns in romance novels. This is fiction based on a mythology, a religious system, an energetic system that does exist in the world. I think it's kind of cool that you're taking the powers and accurately representing the chakras with them. But also, if you're living in the real world or you're studying the chakras or some other sort of spirituality that connects you to your chakras, no, this is not The chakras don't give you powers like they do in this book. I do not have a copy of the finished book myself, so I'm not 100% sure if the quotes that I have highlighted are accurate to the book, but I'm going to share my notes with you. So my note was, this was the villain attacking Archer. We didn't know who attacked him at first. I did have the question of, is the connecting chakra between the couples the auxiliary chakra, or is it just for these two? Okay, I don't know if it's going to change, but someone does scream, the sexy shrew. So this is about Cara and Archer. So they are both overworked and bad at delegating. My note, you're totally about to be kidnapped. They mention money at least 3 times, and how energetics who live a really long time amass a lot of it. We got it. We only needed it the one time. There's a, so she's a spy. And then there was a big reveal at the end of this, which might not have been as dramatic to me because this was a character that I met very briefly in this book, but might have been in the first 3. And my note, because I had a theory about it, was I win. I just could not catch a break at the beginning of the week with good books. I couldn't. They all frustrated me. And the next one is The Beastly Crown by Inez Johnson. I think Inez Johnson and I do not work well as an author and a reader. This is my 3rd Inez Johnson book. I have tried. I read a contemporary holiday novella. I read a vampire book. And this is my 3rd book, supposedly a Beauty and the Beast retelling. I haven't liked a single one of them. And so I respect Inez Johnson as an author. Y'all, if you love her, that is totally fine, but I think she's not for me. This was an arc. It always sucks when you read an arc that you don't like, especially for an indie author. This was inspired by Beauty and the Beast-ish. It was weird. Let's just get this over with. Belle, who is a seamstress, she has been working for a princess making her wedding dress. This princess is betrothed to Adom, A-D-O-M, from birth. Adom, his parents, married for love and not according to prophecy or the will of the priests of their moon goddess. And so he was born not as a shapeshifter, but stuck in this beast form between a man and a lion, which is what his shifter should have been. And the only way to break the curse is to marry the woman the moon goddess chose, who was born at this time, which is this princess. Now, Belle is made this incredibly elaborate gown in hopes that the work that she's done on this beautiful garment will propel her into fame and fortune with the nobility of the realm. But when she and the queen and the princess roll up to the castle to meet the prince, Princess bails. She climbs a fence and hops on over, leaving. So the queen says, okay, well, prince and princess have not met each other, so I'm going to put a veil over you, and we're going to say you're honoring his human heritage by wearing a veil, and he'll never know the difference. But Adam and Belle have instant chemistry and they really like each other, and it gets complicated. Princess shows back up and Belle gets arrested. It didn't follow Beauty and the Beast close enough for me to go, ah yes, Beauty and the Beast. It also felt like the entire thing was rushed. We got very weird, elaborate descriptions of the land, the topography, the moons, but no explanation as to the whole troll situation. Trolls are bad? I don't know. Are we at war with trolls? Are trolls attacking? Are they encroaching? Can we talk to them? Can we negotiate? I don't understand the deal with the trolls. Or how she and Adam get together. I don't understand it. There's also a side plot with the princess and Adam's best friend are secretly in love and tried to run away. Why? The only thing that I really remember enjoying is at the end of this book, Belle says to Adam, once the curse is lifted and he can shift from human to lion and stuff, she says, I missed your beast form, and he transforms into his beast form. And I think everybody who's ever watched Beauty and the Beast goes, yeah, that's what I'd do too. I did not like, even the sex scenes felt rushed. I did not like this book. It was really disappointing. Because it was an arc and I refused to get the real book because I didn't like it. Here are my notes. This is in a fantasy world, so none of the words are our words. Just noting the names of all the things that are never explained. Yeah, another note, names. That was so abrupt. How did you know she smiled? She's wearing a veil. Why give us that number? Oh, she says, oh, my heart rate slowed to a specific number. And like, why would you give us that number? Also, what? That's a pretty fast number. The number you gave us, you slowed down to that? That's a fast number. I'm worried about you. I'm not going to read this, but it's about not needing to vocalize your consent because your body is giving all the consenty signals. And my note is, wrong. It's about the sex scene. These feel rushed, these orgasms. Oh, that's it. That's all I wrote. Oh my gosh. Those are the only highlights I have. I have 14, and more than half of them are just, what are the names of things? Yeah, I did not like this book. I'm good. Yeah, we can be done with that. Back to audiobook world. I listened to Rebel Witch by Kristen Sigarelli. I listened to Crimson Moth as an audiobook, so for the second book in the duology, I also wanted to listen to it. I got this book at an event with the author, so it's signed. I feel like this second book really spoke to what it feels like with violent regimes. That as a regime, violence begets more violence. I'm gonna ruin a lot of the first book. Sorry. Alex, Rue's best friend, and Gideon, the MMC's brother, is dead at the hands of what we learn is a pretty evil witch, the Queen, who tortured Gideon and his family. And Rue, because the government currently in charge of her homeland hates all witches, has escaped with Cressida, the queen, ousted queen, just because she knows Cressida won't kill her as a witch. She knows Cressida is violent and terrible, but she doesn't see a way for her to live in her home unless Cressida is queen. Rue is promised in marriage to a foreign prince in exchange for his army, and that is where Gideon finds her. He's in fact been sent to kill her. She is drinking away her emotional agony at being engaged to this terrible person, missing Alex, and kind of also missing Gideon. Both of them hate that they fell for the other. They are still antagonists in intention. Rue wants a safe haven for witches. Gideon wants to support this government who hates witches. He has been sent to kill her. She obviously doesn't want to die. And then there's this odd cat and mouse where Rue is trying to protect Gideon from Cressida. Gideon is trying to kill Rue, but not kill Rue because he can't do it, but he has to bring her back. And Rue wants to go back to her home and find a way to free the witches from the tyranny of the current government. What Rue discovers is Cressida's master plan is to resurrect the bodies of her older sisters, who were terrible, because apparently there was a secret princess who was born and no one knows about. Cressida wants to find that secret princess and sacrifice her to resurrect her sisters. Rue wants to find the secret princess in order to protect her so Cressida can't resurrect her sisters. Rue convinces Gideon to help smuggle her back into their home, back onto the island, so that she can complete her mission. Gideon is trying to sneak her back onto the island so he can arrest her, but also find the sister and kill the sister so that Cressida can't use the sister. And along the way, they're thrust together in close proximity, pretending to be a married couple on this boat. They have to work together to escape, to change plans when shit goes down, and trying as hard as they might not to fall back in love with each other, or not admit that they've fallen back in love with each other. They fail at that last one. And what we discover along the way is that both of them are very unhappy with the two options of government that they are presented with. And they need to find a third, because a government that kills all witches and a government that subjugates all non-witches, both are unjust, and neither will succeed in the long run. I loved the way that it ended. It felt very earned, very satisfactory. I also love Rue and Gideon. They yearn for each other so hard. It's beautiful. And there was a quote in this audiobook that hit me so hard, I had to go to my physical book, find it, and highlight it. And the quote is, they're kidnapped. I should arrested. They're captured constantly by both sides of this conflict, by Cressida and her ilk, by the government currently in charge, by everyone. They're just constantly captured. So in this moment, Gideon is captured and branded a traitor on their home island, whose name I can't even remember. Sorry. The person who has captured him sneers at him and says, like, I can't believe you give it all up for a witch, blah, 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 love is useless. And Gideon's response is, it might look like weakness on the surface, but in truth, it is tougher than steel. Love can't be controlled. Love can't obey unjust laws. Love will always oppose tyrants. Love is the real enemy of the regime, and that's why you despise it. It's why Cressida tries to crush it, because you both know deep down it has the power to topple you. And that hit me really hard at this moment in the world. And I highlighted it. It's the only thing in this book that's highlighted because I listened to the audiobook. And I don't typically tandem read, but I had to run to my physical copy and share that with you all. We were on a roll with some good books. The next one is Gold Coast Dilemma by Nana Malone. I read this as an ARC. I got my physical copy. It's out now. And I have checked my highlights so I can share my quotes with you, since they are in the finished copy and not the highlights. This is my third Nana Malone book. It is the first in this series. It's about Afosua and Cole. Afosua works in publishing, as does Cole. Cole's family owns this publishing house. His uncle, by marriage, not by blood, is currently running it, and he works in something that's not editorial. He works in more the businessy side. Ofosua is an associate editor here in this predominantly white working space. She also recently had her engagement blow up when she catches her fiance cheating on her at her engagement party. Now, this is where I loved learning about Ghanaian culture. Ofosua is Ghanaian. She is an immigrant, as are her parents, to the United States. And in Ghanaian culture, there is an engagement ceremony that culturally also counts as your marriage. So culturally, she and the fiance were married, even though legally it was their engagement party. They weren't legally married. So she breaks off the engagement, but she deals with a lot of social stigma from the breaking of this marriage, from leaving her husband. That was really interesting to witness and watch her deal with. She and Cole met one very drunk on Cole's part night, right when she started as an intern at the company. They shared a beautiful evening talking, connecting, getting to know each other on the balcony at some publishing event. They shared an incredible kiss, and then when Ofosua met him 6 months later, he did not recognize her. So it has become this loathe rivals situation. They're very antagonistic, very quippy towards each other in the office. Ofosua is given the opportunity to run an imprint for Black women, for Black women's stories. It's to prove DE&I because the publishing house needs capital. There's a production company that had the rights to a different series and made a movie or a TV show out of it, and they want to work together. And the production company says they'll give cash to the publishing house, but only if they see, not white people, because the production company is owned and run by people of color. Ofosua is basically sacrificed at the altar of DE, and I see, here's what we're doing. But she's determined to make this imprint into something impactful. And we watch her really fight for that, fight for these stories and fight for this opportunity. Cole is assigned this imprint as a business advisor and overseer, and they then have to learn to work together. As Cole and Ofosuo work together, their relationship goes from sassy banter to real connection, to getting to know each other, to having to find peace. Cole's eyes are also opened to the world as Ofosuo has to deal with it. The microaggressions, the unfair disadvantage that she is at because she is a woman of color. And I think that Nana did an incredible job of creating the space for Cole to discover what he needs in order to be an ally to Ofosuo. They become friends after their loathe evolves during this working relationship and morphs into a more romantic situation. Ofosuo also has anxiety and panic attacks, and that's a side plot here where she has to deal with her own emotions. She has a very overbearing mom, and I do love the way that Nana opens each chapter with some sort of proverb and typically Ofosuo's mom's response. So chapter 1, a Dinkra saying. I will not be able to say the actual word, but the saying is a symbol of unity and community. Helen is Ofosuo's mom. Marriage is not about you, the person, but family. You will know happiness when you grow your family, especially if you pick someone from a good home. And it opens with a saying and then typically Ofosuo's mom's commentary on that saying, which is very funny. But a big part of this is Ofosuo learning to stand up for herself, what she wants, really go after that, set and hold boundaries, not just in the working space, but also in her personal life. I loved this book. I loved it. Nana is also lovely. Like, she is a radiant goddess. I did not realize how many books she's written, and I want to go back and dive deeper into her catalog because I'm just starting to discover her, and I want to know more. Quote quote quotes. I feel like so many of us can relate to this. So after she discovers her fiance cheating on her, she ends up in the hospital with a panic attack. No one is surprised. Her mom is like, I don't understand what's happening. The doctor is talking to her very rationally. As your doctor today, I am telling you not to do this alone. And when you say you have these twinges all the time, what does that exactly mean? I don't know. When I get stressed out or things seem overwhelming, I get that pinched, rapid heart rate feeling. Okay, what do you do to alleviate it? I frowned. I tell myself to suck it up and then go get it done. Something told me that was the wrong response. He blinked at me, blinked again, and then his brow furrowed. You're serious? And I feel like all of us have had those moments, or so many of us can relate to moments when we desperately should have taken a step back or a rest, and because of society or whatever, we just instead went, well, I just gotta buckle up and get it done. In the words of a certain perky blonde pop star, Yofi and I were never, ever getting back together. Cole is also low-key obsessed with her. His loathe to love is mostly, I'm obsessed with you, and I'm giving back what you putting down. So this is Ofosuo's mom, and my note is, this mother-daughter relationship better get worked on. But what Ofosuo's mom says is, don't go buying into these panic attacks. It's not who we are. That's not what our people do, eh? Thank you for validating my feelings. This is from Ofosuo's perspective. It didn't make sense given our enemies to nemesis relationship, which is why I think it's mostly in Ofosuo's head. So Cole does not remember her and is absolutely speechless. We get his perspective later. When he met her, he thought she was the most beautiful thing. When he re-met her, she's mad. She's like, I will not give this fucker the time of day because you do not get to forget about me and have me be nice to you. This is Ofosuo. Drake Publishing, while my first and only real job out of school, had taught me a lot about how I needed to present myself in these almost all-white professional environments. I'm mad that has to be a thing. Nazarene is another co-worker of theirs, and this is from Cole's perspective. What did Nazarene want earlier? His uncle. His brow furrowed. What do you mean? Chad said she met with you earlier. Since she reports directly to me, and I didn't have anything for her to discuss with you, I was wondering what she wanted. He shrugged. I haven't the slightest. I haven't been here half the day. And my note is, that's gonna come back. It does. Ofosuo's point of view, talking about what she wants to do with this imprint. And God help me, but I was not falling into the trap and idea that Black women's stories had to be pain. I hated that narrative. Yes, Black women's stories do not have to be pain. They are not pain. They are not pain. They live their life with joy. Fucking loved it. Cole starting to become an ally. And he says, okay, so what can I do tomorrow to support you? And they're talking about business stuff for the implant print. And I appreciate that he is willing and ready to work with her. One of the things that Ofosua's mom does is really force her back into the dating scene almost immediately. And so she is set up, not by her mom in this instance, though in many an instance. I'll get to a really good quote later. But this is, I don't know if I'm allowed to, like, if it's my place to share this with you, but these are Nana's words, so I'm going to. She's on a date, and her date comments on the waitress and calls her a half-sister. And this is the conversation. The waitress, she's not really a sister. And you saw what she's done to her skin and the piercings. If those markings were tribal, you know, from where she came from in Africa, or at least where half of her came from, it would make sense. But those are the marks of the white man. My breath caught. Oh no, 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 no. I had two choices here. I could ask for elaboration, but I suspected the elaboration would come with verification of what I was dreading. I was going to be locked into a dinner with him for the next hour and a half at least. Maybe I was overreacting. Maybe he was just very Afrocentric. Maybe there was a chance he wasn't a hotep. But it wasn't looking good. I mentally ran through my hotep checklist. And I've heard that phrase in other books. If you've never heard that phrase, please do your due diligence. Look it up. It was very interesting to me as someone who looks as I do. But it is something that Nana put in here for a reason, because it is a reality of dating, and it sucks. That date does not go well, if you can imagine. This is Ofosua talking about her identity. Yeah, but I'm not Black American. I'm African. It's different. Even though we have some shared experiences, there's other cultural differences. There's no such thing as a pep talk with African parents, especially abroad. You are an immigrant first, African second. And that is the truth that Nana shares with us. That's important. Your aesthetics don't equate your upbringing or your culture. Okay, this is a really funny line about Ofosua's mom setting her up with man after man and always having someone in the wings for her. It was like she carried around successful dick in Tupperware containers, just waiting to offer you one. Oh my fucking God. Okay, so this is Cole. Remember when I said Nazreen was going to come back? It wasn't until I rounded the corner that I saw Nazreen was seated with him. And my note is, they're fucking, right? About his uncle. Nazreen was sitting with Cole's uncle. And Cole, again, his progress. But now I was starting to know better. And I was horrified that my uncle couldn't see it. Or actually, he wouldn't see. When speaking about how Ofosua is treated and the systemic racism inherent in this company, ingrained into the company and culture. Ofosua is then invited to her ex-fiance's wedding to someone else who stole her wedding. He basically stole the wedding, including the invitations, just switched out the name, and she gets the invitation while she's with Cole. Cole says, "You know you can't go by yourself." She laughed. "What, you're gonna be my date?" My skin flushed hot. I was grateful for the waning moonlight. Yeah. Why not? And let me say, he really steps up when it comes to the wedding. She says, "No, you can't be my date." She ends up having a panic attack in the entryway to the church. Her cousin calls Cole, who shows up to be her date and is a great date. This is when they're friends. This is Cole. I'd almost kissed her again. The sweet ache of desire coursed through me, and I tamped it down. It had seemed like she wanted me to, but given the way she backed up from me, she knew I'd almost kissed her and was giving me back off signals. So I was going to respect those. "You are so into her." This is inner monologue. "Yeah, you are, sir." But I also appreciate that when she gave back off signals, he respected. I loved how this was handled. So this is their first kiss. Cole broke the kiss and dropped his forehead to mine, his eyes mournful. "I've kissed you before, haven't I?" He knew. I love that it was handled with the minute he kissed her, he knew and he explains what happened that evening. I won't ruin it for you. Honestly, it was very justified. I get it. I don't like it, but I get it. But I just love the way that that was handled. Like, his body remembered her. Cole becomes very indignant once he's able to see all the microaggressions, all of the ways the system is set against Afosua. He has rage. He has rage for it. And Afosua has to explain where she comes from. And this is one of the conversations they have about it. Before you and I started talking, how often did you see microaggressions? I swallowed hard. I guess I wasn't looking. You're programmed not to. And that's it. Like, we're programmed not to notice the microaggressions perpetuated around us. And it's hard, and it's frustrating, and it's embarrassing, and it's shameful. My note for this was, did he though? And the quote is, I had a damn target on my back, and Cole had left me to float or sink on my own in shark-infested waters. And honestly, what I think this moment was is they hadn't had a conversation about how things should be handled in public. And Afosua and Cole, like, they didn't know what the other one needed. So Afosua didn't know what she wanted, like, didn't express if she wanted him to say anything or not. And Cole didn't know if he was allowed to say anything or not. What I will say is they do learn how to communicate and come over that. But I do understand her emotions in that moment. So the first time they're intimate, it is at Afosua's house. And this is the first time they're at Cole's house. She told me at her place when I asked about her satin pillowcases that cotton strips black hair of much needed moisture, but satin protects it. But maybe I'd fucked this up. I can fix it. Just tell me what you need. He bought satin pillowcases so she would be comfortable sleeping at his house. Just gonna let that one be there. Fosua. I clenched my jaw trying to determine the best way to commit matricide and not go to jail. I feel that way about your mom too, friend. This is Afosua. This is at the end of a big fight. It's the beginning of a third act breakup. Sorry, there's a third act breakup. And my note is, I don't like how this is written, third act breakup. And by that I mean I just don't think the fighting was fair or communicative. It was very... Not like the writing was bad, but I'm just like, ugh. But the quote is, you're not at fault here, but lucky for you, you know who is. Okay, this is a very funny moment. Cole very adorably got cooking lessons from Ofosua's mom, and so this is him cooking. Yes, I can cook. I know, but I've never seen you make anything other than, pasta or chicken. That doesn't mean I can't cook anything else. That smells like seasoning, Cole. And it's such an accurate statement to say to a basic white person that you're using seasoning, because basic white people food is not seasoned at all, or barely seasoned. Let's go with barely seasoned. This line just hit me really hard. They are traveling together and it says, don't believe media portrayals of a place that those in power have a vested interest in keeping you ignorant about. And that one just hit really, really hard in the moment. I hope this becomes a series. There are some friends, some cousins in this world. But I think that if you've never read Nana before, this is a good one. It's not dark. Some of her stuff is dark. Also, because it's only one book right now, you're not committing to a really long series. And I enjoyed it a lot. The final part of the redemption arc is Can't Get Enough by Kennedy Ryan. When I tell you that Maverick, he is not a book boyfriend. He is a book husband. I would marry this man. This is a partner. This is a life partner here. I have loved Hendrix since I read her almost a year ago and before I let go. I want for this woman, I want her to achieve all that she deserves, all that she's worked for. I was so fortunate enough to be able to read an arc of this book before it came out. It is out now. I got my copy. I've put my notes in. I can read them to you. I think I shared this about This Could Be Us, that with Before I Let Go, the heavy and the drama was between the couple, and in This Could Be Us, it was the world around them. And that's the same with this. These two are so fucking solid. Maverick, I love him. I love him. He is the kind of love, he gives the kind of love that we deserve, that women deserve, that people deserve. You deserve a partner who treats you the way he treats Hendrix, who shows up in the way that he shows up for Hendrix. It was just so, it was goals. It was fierce love. Kennedy typically brings in something very heavy in her books, and in this story, Hendrix is faced with her mother's decline via Alzheimer's. And what does she do as the only child? Her father is deceased. How does she take care of her mother from afar? How does she support her even though she's not physically there, and as her mother loses her sense of self? This one really hit home to me. While it's certainly not everybody's story, Kennedy, as she does so well, handled it with grace. That's all I'm going to say about that, because I want to focus on the fucking love story, which is Maverick and Hendrix. Hendrix is in her 40s. She is childless by choice. She does not want children. She is absolute rich auntie goals. I believe the phrase most typically used for her is that girl, which I fucking love and is 100% correct with Hendrix. She is that girl. She is successful. She is a talent manager in Atlanta, and she, along with 2 other women, have started a VC, a venture capital fund, specifically for women, Black women-owned businesses. They did a first round of funding. They've had some success, and they're entering their next stage of funding and another round of all of the stuff that goes into VC, which I don't know much about because I don't do that. But I didn't need to know much to understand what was happening in this story. One of her clients is named Chapel. She is a model with vitiligo who just won this modeling competition, and Hendrix is working with the host and the producer of that modeling competition show to get Chapel her own show that Hendrix would be a producer on. She and Chapel have been invited to this producer Zare's big party in Miami that she hosts at her boyfriend's house, who is Maverick. And if that sounds problematic, it kind of is. What we find out from Maverick's first chapter is that he and Zare broke up a month before this party. But because they didn't want to cancel the party, it's very important. It's a lot of networking, especially for Zare. Zare loves hosting the party. She loves the Miami house. They agreed that they were going to be broken up privately, host the party, and then publicly announce their breakup once the party was over. So at the party, everyone believes that Maverick and Zare are still together. Hendrix meets Maverick, not knowing who he is, and they have a bit of banter. They click. They joke. They have similar senses of humor, and they share. They are very transparent and vulnerable with each other for people who have just met at a party. It's very surprising. At the party, Hendrix gets a call from her aunt about her mother, and Maverick, whose grandfather had Alzheimer's and he watched his mom deal with that decline, is very compassionate and kind towards Hendrix. He's also incredibly attracted to her. I should mention at this point that Zare is one of the most beautiful women in the world and a model, or called one of the most beautiful women in the world and a model, and Hendrix is a beautiful, Zaftig, plus-size woman who crushes it at life. There's nothing about that. I never in my mind pictured anyone other than a stunning woman, but physically, they are different, and that is brought up in a very unkind way later. Maverick feels drawn to Hendrix, and once the party's over and he goes back to California where he is living and doing some business stuff, he reaches out to Hendrix about her VC fund and to maybe get involved in that, and really starts to pursue her. Hendrix says, "No, thank you, sir. I have a business arrangement with your ex. This can't happen. That's not professional. That's not okay." And Maverick says, "I'm going to pursue you anyway." They keep bumping into each other at a basketball game. He flies to the VC event that she has. They just click. I will say Maverick does pursue her after she says no, and there are moments when I don't like it, when I don't love that in general. I think Maverick is my exception. I think he's my exception because he's not pursuing her because he wants to win. He's pursuing her because she makes him happy, and he believes in a future with her. One of the main reasons why he and Zare broke up is Zare wanted children. Maverick has an 18-year-old daughter who just graduated high school. He was the primary parent. He got a girl pregnant early in college. They were not together, and she moved abroad to pursue her opportunities. And so Maverick raised this girl. He does not want more children. And Zare, not fair of her, thought that eventually he would change his mind. Stop that. If a guy tells you he doesn't want fucking children, like, don't assume he's gonna change his mind. He said, I don't want children. It's not fair. It's not fucking fair. And not that the reason he wants Hendrix is because she said she doesn't want children. When you're pursuing a life with someone, when you see them as your life partner, you work together to figure out what does that life look like. Though, if someone says they don't want kids, don't assume that they haven't thought about it. They've thought about it. They fucking thought about it, and it's not your place to disagree with the decision that they've made for themselves at all. Eventually, they do get together, and this is where Maverick steps the fuck up. He never treats Hendrix like her life and her problems are less important than his. He's a multi-millionaire, almost billionaire in his own right, and he never treats Hendrix's VC or her career or her family in the tiny, small southern town where her mom is as less important than anything he is working on. And he drops things to support her in times of crisis. When her mom ends up in the hospital, she calls him, and his assistant says he's accepting an award right now. He's on stage, and he calls her right back and shows up at the hospital for her. When shit goes down with her VC fund and they're getting sued, which is such bullshit, he's in Japan, and he says to his assistant, who asks, like, what do you want for lunch? He goes, nothing. I'm going to eat on the plane, because he knows that she will need him to support her. He does not treat what she's doing as less than just because he's made millions already. And that is incredible. He values what she's doing. He sees the value and importance and respects her for it. He is also incredible with her mom, kind and caring. And I just love him. Like, I'm crying with how much I love him. And the reason I love him is because of how he loves Hendrix. This is the reminder that you deserve to be loved like this. It's not unrealistic to have a partner who supports you completely. It's not unrealistic to have a partner who prioritizes your needs and time with you. And it is not unrealistic to have a partner who sees a future with you and wants to build it from the moment they realize you are their person. He is a husband. He is a partner. He is incredible. I'm so sorry, Kennedy, but like, this is my favorite. This is my favorite, and he is my favorite. And if he appeared next to me, I would drag that man to the altar. Can't get away from me. I don't even think I had the quote, which is so ridiculous. Hendrix does come clean to Zare once she and Maverick get together, and Zare is a bitch about it. Absolute bitch about it. But Zare calls Maverick and pulls a, how can you be with someone like her when you've been with someone like me? Physically, she's not your type. And Maverick just pulls hard on the brakes and goes, do you think I was with you for what you look like? Just shuts that shit down and follows up with, and have you seen her smile? Hold on, let me get the actual quote. Let's get into quotes, and I'll start with that one. But physically, she's not your type. My face twists into a scowl. What's that mean? I was a model, Maverick. I was on People's Most Beautiful list. How do you go from me to her? Wait a damn minute, Zare. I don't know who to feel most insulted for. Me, because you think I'm that shallow. Hendrix, because you don't see how fucking gorgeous she is inside and out. I pause and gentle my voice. Or on your behalf, because you don't understand the good I saw in you, the beauty I saw in you, outshines your physical appearance. Is that why you thought I was with you? And then Zare tries to be like, blah, 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 blah. Let me be very clear. I think Hendrix has the most beautiful smile I've ever seen. Her face is art to me. I love her body. I think it's thick in all the right places, and I've been physically attracted to her from the moment we met. Tension creeps across my shoulders and I squeeze the phone more tightly. I would never be in a relationship with someone solely based on physical appearance, though. I wish in the time we were together, you would realize that, for your sake. Oh my God. Follow up. I'm just saying a man like you can have anyone he wants. And I do. Like, this is what I'm saying. He is perfection. I don't know how I didn't highlight that initially because it's one of the moments that's lived rent-free in my brain. This is right when they've met. Melanin hides my blush, but there's no hiding from the feeling. And this is where Zare's stupid. He did tell me from the beginning. Zare admits, her eyes unfocused and filling with tears. I knew. But there was this little voice in the back of my head that said I could change his mind, that he loved me enough to choose me over... Hendrik's thought is, over his own happiness? Like, that's it. You don't get to believe he'll change his mind. That's rude. It means you don't value his opinion. This is part of Hendrix's speech at the VC event, and she's talking about Black women. We are resilient. It's not a wand, it's work. We work harder and shine brighter to survive. Excellence for us has been a matter of necessity. And I think that is so fucking true. Side plot, which is really funny. Hendrix PA and Maverick's PA have this crazy weird ass fight chemistry thing at the VC event. They'd been emailing apparently very antagonistically and they met and then they ran off. Hendrix says, why do I feel like we just witnessed some kind of hostile mating ritual? Maverick, you think they're smashing right now? Oh, 100%. It's such a funny side plot. This is her commenting on Maverick. She's still trying to resist him. It's not his wealth or power. His kindness, his consideration, his caring is the lure. These two people connect on a soul-deep level. Kennedy Ryan just dropping in moments of reality. The prohibition of cannabis has done a lot of harm specifically to our community. I want to assist marginalized entrepreneurs who have been historically disenfranchised by legislation designed just as much to target us as it was to protect anyone else. Fuck yeah, Maverick. Maverick, I've built my fortune on risks everyone told me weren't worth taking. It's honed my instincts so I know a good thing when I see it. And Hendrix Berry is a good thing. What are you watching may as well have been what are you wearing? Simul-watching Netflix is like phone sex, like masturbatory streaming. Hendrix has watched so many women give up on their dreams for the men in their life that she's very sensitive at the idea that she'd be doing the same thing for Maverick. It's something that Soledad says to her, and I don't have it in here. I don't know why. These moments live in my head but weren't in my highlights. Soledad draws attention to something Hendrix said to her, and this could be us. Instead of thinking that you're giving up on your dreams, are you actually building new ones? Like, yes, you have this dream to pursue these things in this way, but isn't part of your dream for yourself to have a partner to share it with? So why can't Maverick be that partner? You're not giving up on your dreams, you are including him in your life. But this is a moment when they are butting heads, specifically Maverick and the Zare situation. This is before they've gotten together. What do you want? He asks, stopping in front of me, cupping my face and holding my eyes. I'll get it for you. I jerk away. His words like a bucket of cold water on my overheated body. Why do I need you to get something for me I'm already doing for myself? His nickname for her is Gorgeous with a capital G. This is one of those, oh, Maverick, I love you, even though she said no. I hate that my heart is beating a triple time at the thought that Maverick is still pursuing me, even though I told him to stop. Am I becoming that girl? The one who is coy with her refusal? Who says one thing and means another, wants another? Skip to the other page. I want you in your right mind. He kicks up into a one-sided grin so we can negotiate. Negotiate? I'm very good at it. So am I. I'm counting on it. What exactly are we negotiating? Our future. Fuck me, that dude is so sexy. I hate him for being exactly the kind of man I would choose. Oh my God. And his response later on in this conversation is, I can't blame you for feeling that way. for assuming that's how I would be, because most men are. Most women do sacrifice disproportionately in their relationships with men. We have to guard against that. I'll look after you. Being good to you means wanting what's best for you. If there's an upper hand, baby, I don't want it. Like, fuck me, this man. I love this man so much. Now I'm on the cusp of everything I've been working toward in my career. And I realize that acknowledging those parts of me that want care and companionship doesn't make me less whole. It doesn't mean I'm not happy, but that this is something else that can make me happy. Yeah. This is an adult conversation. This is another great one-liner. Father, forgive me, for I have whored. Her mother has ended up in the hospital, and it's been very hard. And she called Mav, who is in New York. She's in her tiny hometown, and she's about to leave the hospital. I put my hand up to cover my eyes, shocked to see a silver Maybach fully tricked with 5-spoke titanium rims. When it pulls to a stop and the door opens, I almost fall to my knees for the second time tonight. Mav, I whisper, half believing this is some mirage and the fatigue and hunger have me hallucinating. But then he says the words that only he would say. Wagwan, gorgeous. Which is an intimate joke between the two of them. Fucking love it. He dropped everything to be with her. Everything. And that is a partner. Who the fuck cares why he was in New York? She needs him. He'll be there. This is another fun moment after shit goes down with Zaire. I'm not looking forward to telling chat, but I gotta put my big girl thong on. After her VC gets sued for not being inclusive, says you gotta find out everything about the people suing them. Bolt gestures toward the neglected cart. You don't want to eat? Nah. I hurriedly yank clothes from the closet and look around for my suitcase. We can eat on the plane. He's in Japan in this moment, and he leaves everything to go to her. He is an incredible man. Oh, they do say some petty ass bullshit things to each other when they're mad. It's not fun. One of the other beautiful things, like, yes, I'm talking about the romance of this book, and that is primarily where this romance is. I also want to talk about the found family and the 3 women that this trilogy is about. So Yaz, Sol, and Hendrix. These are 3 women who absolutely support each other. No questions asked. They are found family goals. They are the support system that we all deserve. And the relationship between these 3 women is so beautiful. Hendrix probably needs Yaz and Sol least in the midst of this story in terms of literal support. Both Yaz and Sol had very different situations and very different stories. But what these 2 women do for Hendrix is ground her and remind her of who she is and hold her steady as the tides shift around her. And that is what she needed from those women to keep her grounded, to keep her sane, and sometimes to call her on her bullshit. Is Hendrix losing money? No. Is she in the midst of a divorce? No. Is she X, Y, Z? No. But these women are her emotional support.